What's up, everybody? It's Lawrence. I'm here at BlockCon 2025 Singapore. If you saw the video about the BlockCon Seoul event, similar type of event that we're doing here in Singapore, right along with the Token 2049 week. It's been such a fun, energizing, and exciting week. And this is such a great way to close it out. So we're going to talk to a number of the folks that have came to the event today. I'm here with Adam. Adam is also one of our sponsors, someone that I've only chatted with very briefly a little bit earlier in the event. So I'm going to meet Adam pretty much live right in front of you guys, and you're going to get that experience of what it's like to be networking at a BlockCon event. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me.
Pleasure to be here, Lawrence. Thank you so much.
So Adam, first of all, tell me about your company.
Yeah, so Web3 Dealflow is an AI due diligence product. It's a tool for investors and for founders to analyze private investments in the crypto space. And what we do is we build a model that will look at the founding team and the strength of that team, and it'll pick up on some insights that may not be so obvious for investors, and we'll give a risk and confidence score so that investors can prioritize what deals to look at among a sea of 1,000 deal flow.
Yeah, very interesting. And what are the inputs that the model are looking at to be able to make an assessment?
Yeah, so we pulled together several open source data that we aggregate into our model, and then we fine tune it specific for Web3. We look at tokenomics. We'll look at things like have the founders been known to have potentially rug pulled in the past, and that'll get picked up from social media sentiment about founding members, or maybe we find online that they've had prior exits, and then that would add to a confidence score.
Yeah.
And then we'll take that and we'll look at the valuation of what the project is fundraising, and it will make a risk reward calculation on whether or not it will have a high chance to give you a return on your investment.
Yeah. Now, given that you're a new project, have you had any opportunity to sort of test the efficacy of your model yet?
Yeah, but we actually are currently testing with 30 users who are currently our angel investors. And since we're targeting investors as users, they're the perfect pool of candidates to give us feedback on the product. I started building Web3 Dealflow because I actually manage a fund, ODE Capital.
Okay.
And we wanted to build this tool for us to get better deal flow for ourselves.
Got it.
And then as we were building this, we realized that actually we can make this tool available for every investor.
Yeah.
And this would potentially be more valuable than to raise another fund and just invest.
Sure.
We'll just focus fully on building Web3 Dealflow.
That makes a lot of sense. I had an idea. You know what? I think there's a lot of people who may be watching this right now who realize that I was pitching them on a very similar idea to this. But of course, execution is everything. So kudos to you for being the one to actually do it.
Yeah.
Tell me more about you. So you mentioned that you run a fund as well.
Yes.
Tell me about the fund.
Yes. So ODE Capital, it's an LP fund. We started that in 2023. Raised about $2 million from Japanese LPs, and we fully deployed the fund 2 years ago into about 10 portfolio. Half of them have already been gone defunct. 3 of them are still still have not launched their token yet. I'd say our most well-known investment is BDAX. So BDAX recently announced the launch of Korea's first regulated one-backed stablecoin at Korea Blockchain Week last week.
Really? So
that was very exciting for us. They're licensed, they're regulated. They have the widest VASP license in Korea to be able to be a stablecoin issuer. So we're very excited about their potential.
And how did you get into crypto?
It started for me in 2017. I started trading crypto in the early days. Bitcoin, Litecoin, and then Ripple that time did really well. And then, that was my first exposure into it. And then, after the 2018 winter came, I stopped following it for a while. Yeah. And then I was a Web2 founder, for e-commerce, and I was doing some hardware stuff. And then I came back into crypto fully during COVID in 2021. Yeah. When everyone started talking about metaverse and NFTs, and I was I need to really get back into this and see what's going on.
Yeah, great time to be back. Well, glad to have you back.
Yeah.
Very nice to chat with you.
Yeah, pleasure.
Are you open to having people reach out to you if they think that there's something that's relevant?
Yes, absolutely.
How can people get in touch with you?
You can look for Adam Kang on LinkedIn, and if you see Web3 Dealflow, that's most likely to be me. You can connect with me there. You can also message me on Telegram on at Web3 Deal Flow, and you'll likely be able to find me.
Great. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
All right, next I'm going to talk to my BlockOffice colleague, Christian Corrigan. Christian, I've known you for a little while now. I definitely knew you. You weren't with BlockOffice when we first met.
No,
Right.
yeah. I think we've known each other for about 5 or 6 years.
Right. I figured out the other day where we first met. Actually, I was thinking about it. We met in Men's Group.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think
Desmond was somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Was
I had very briefly met you before that at the boxing gym.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
I'll introduce you quickly, and then I'll let you know. So Christian is CFO at BlockOffice. Crazy amount of time at Barclays Bank. 10 years.
I did about 9 years in total, 15 years in banking.
Yeah. Okay. So not a spring chicken guy. He looks good, but he's very experienced. And caught the crypto bug at some point, as it happens, and is doing a fantastic job as CFO of BlockOffice. Was the person that I reached out to when I was interested in joining BlockOffice, and is probably one of my main contacts at the firm to this day. So Christian, while I have you here, why don't we talk a little bit about what we do?
Sure. I guess the simplest way to say it is that we're a strategic back office for startups. Generally what that means is we focus on 3 core areas. The first is the corporate structuring piece. So setting up an entity, you need an entity to really run any business. That's both onshore and offshore. Obviously, when we're working with Web3 startups, there might be a need to be in more regulatory gray spaces. So offshore jurisdictions play into that. The second piece is really focusing on the fundraising journey. So whether that's an equity raise or a token raise, we help with that roadmap to take people from their pre-seed to their seed, or seed to Series A fundraise. And the last piece is really our bread and butter, which is the fractional CFO and COO work. It can be things as simple as bookkeeping and accounting and your year-end financial filings, all the way through to financial models, budgets, plans, more strategic financial stuff.
Great. And first of all, I gotta say, I love the way you describe this. It's you put it so well. I can tell that you've been doing it for a little while.
I've a little bit of practice, yeah.
I guess what I'd love to know is so I as someone having run a crypto startup myself, I know what a pain it is to try to do all of the things that you've described. And this is something that's come up in the podcast a few times, actually, the amount of administrative burden that crypto startups have, which is actually, it's a lot higher than a Web 2 startup. I don't know if people realize that. And if you're a small team, it can really feel like a lot. What would you say is your, talk to me about a moment where you're working with a client and you're like, hey, you don't have to worry about this anymore. And you see that look of relief or appreciation, what's that like?
Well, certainly what you're describing, the feeling for us, obviously, there's a great sense of pride there. But generally for the clients, they really don't know where to start. So unlike a Web 2 business where it's very simple for them to set up an entity and connect to a bank account, with Web3, while you think those Web3 rails will provide some seamless connectivity and this ability to pay anybody, anywhere, anytime, that only works if the end receivers are also okay with crypto. And in most cases, that might not be the case. Then there's the crypto accounting element, right? Everything's on chain, easily trackable, but that doesn't mean that it's easily accounted for.
Sure.
So there's just these small nuances which actually provide a lot of friction, and it's no different to a Web3 wallet, right? In concept, it's fantastic. We have self-custody of our wallets, our assets, our ability to transfer as and when we please, but actually just getting access to that wallet's a little bit troublesome. You know, you got to have your private keys, you got to have all of these other things kind of ready, and you need to know what to do with it before you can even proceed. And then of course you got to get gas from somewhere, right? So Web3 still has these very rough edges around what operationally should be very straightforward, and of course in the Web2 space really is.
Yeah, and when you think about some of the clients that you've worked with, and when you're like, you know, you're at a conference, you're meeting new people and stuff, is there like a particular problem set, a particular founder, particular like type of company where you go, you know what, I know I can really help you a lot?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, for me, the seed stage companies that have just done a successful raise, and now they've got a bit more capital. They know that they need to scale, or they need to go to market, and they're specifically looking for the right person to hire. And it's like, okay, I need to hire this growth person, or I need to hire this BD person, or this, you know, back office person. So they're really trying to think about who the hire is that they need to make. And most often those founders are best placed at the tip of the spear, you know, either focusing on the product that they're trying to build or bring that product to market. So how do you give those founders more time? And quite often really good founders, you know, they really have this, you know, entrepreneurial spirit to do everything themselves and move fast. And so it's about helping them let go of many of the things that are super necessary, but just don't require their human capital to get it done. So I think that we play really well in that space. We essentially are going to be the most experienced hire they're ever going to do at the cheapest price they'll ever be able to find. And, you know, we kind of grow and scale with them as well. So unlike a hire that you do internally that you've got to manage and figure out like what their own career trajectory is, you can take us very early on at a fraction of the cost with just a light workload and see how we can kind of grow and pair together. So I think those things really work well for founders too at that seed stage level.
I love it. No, I think it's such a great value proposition. It was so clear to me from the time that we started speaking, especially from the experience that I have. So I love it. One thing I got to address, because I find it so funny, if you look in like the banking world in particular, there's a certain stigma that comes with the idea of back office, right? It's not typically a compliment, right? It's not seen as like, it's not the sexy part of the business. It's not the part of the business people are clamoring to get into. People want to get into the front office, right? The back office are seen as like kind of like the nerds, you know, with no social skills, hide them from the client type of stuff. But you don't look like a back office guy, Christian. You know, you've got tattoos. You obviously work out. You know, what's up with that?
It's a good question. Something that's been asked of me many times through my years, my different managers and bosses over the time. I always wanted to be in front office. So I studied economics and finance in university. I wanted to be a trader. You know, that was kind of my destination. And so I knew I needed to get into investment banking to be a trader. And I was looking for any trading jobs and not getting any feedback, but somebody called me up about a finance role. So I took the finance role, and my very next stop was, okay, well, now that I'm in finance, how do I get close to the trading desk? So then I learned about a particular niche financial position called product control. They focus entirely on the trading P&L, the daily P&L that the traders make. And actually that was kind of a nice fit for me. I enjoyed finance. I still had delusions of grandeur that I might become this trader. And I slowly realized over time that, you know, there were very smart people doing those things, and maybe it wasn't for me. And at the same time, I realized that I really enjoyed building teams. I really enjoyed system thinking. So looking at the systems that we're operating within, and then how do I fix and change those? So I actually had a lot of exposure rolling out new infrastructure for the banks, particularly around the front-end trading ledger, the back-end accounting ledger. So I saw a lot of things that actually now in my current day job are a perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
Did I ever really fit back office banking? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, ironically, in a sense, your role as CFO at BlockOffice, which is a very fast-growing company, by the way, is very front office.
Yeah.
So we provide a back office skill set, but you're now a front office guy.
touch. Yeah. I love the way that you put that. I've always enjoyed the selling. I've always enjoyed being in a position where I am client facing and I am being able to pitch. So this role really gives me that opportunity to do that. I really enjoy it. I also think that there's always been this entrepreneurial bug in me.
Yeah.
And like yourself, I've had a couple of previous startups that I've worked in, that I've started myself, that I've tried to build, and I failed for my own shortcomings as well.
Yeah.
I realize actually I'm much better at the back office than I am at the front office sometimes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, failure doesn't always mean.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. We're learning. That's right. We're learning.
Right?
Everything is learning. Yeah.
Christian, thank you so much.
Yeah. Pleasure.
All right.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right,
Exactly.
guys, last conversation of the day. Man, I am freaking tired. It is, what's today, Friday, right?
It is Friday of a long week.
This has been one hell of a week. I've had about 10,000 Wagyu sliders, at least 400 glasses of champagne.
A gazillion of coffees.
Yeah, this sounds like I realize as I'm talking, this sounds like very first world problems, right? I'm complaining about all the Wagyu and champagne. But no, it's a very intense week. I'm losing my voice. One more conversation before we close this out. I'm here with Dominik from
Bluerails.
First of all, thank you so much for co-sponsoring this event with us.
Was a pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Tell everybody, what is Bluerails?
Yeah, thanks again also for hosting such a fantastic event. It's like spot on, bringing a lot of customers and partners together for us. And yeah, what is Bluerails doing? Bluerails helps companies that operate between crypto and fiat to bank without friction, right? So a lot of companies in the RWA space, commodities trading space, or companies that service Web3 companies, they struggle to move between their crypto and fiat assets, their crypto and fiat treasuries, and we help them to on and off ramp. Effectively, we help them to receive fiats across our banking rails, which are reliable, and of course to also do payouts. And so, yeah, if you're an RWA company that needs more reliable banking rails with integrated ramping capabilities, we are here to help. And we're also very interested in quality yield because our customers are using us to tap into yield for their treasury.
Very cool. What gave you the idea that this was like a problem that you wanted to solve?
Yeah, so my background is in supply chain traceability, right? And so I have worked with a lot of companies that operate across Southeast Asia, and settlement of contracts was always a pain. It just takes a lot of time to move money, right? And so this is also one of our core customer groups, companies that are trading across emerging market currencies, to enable them to receive, getting paid essentially faster, right? And then pay their suppliers faster. That's one thing. But also for Web3 companies, where our co-founders have been working in, it's still very painful to off-ramp, right? And especially the RWA tokenization movement, there are a lot of interesting assets that are getting, through tokenization, accessible to a broader spectrum of basically, a bigger spectrum of investors that can participate with smaller ticket sizes, not only institutional. They have a demand, and we are able to basically service the demand through our rails, right?
So yeah, I get what you're talking about, and it's so interesting. Do you anticipate that we're very early in the RWA space, the development of RWA? I mean, this seems to be like for sure one of the themes of the time, right? Like everyone is talking about this.
I think it's definitely like the term has been around. I guess it got it has experienced some new momentum. From our perspective, specifically the RWA of quality assets that get larger distribution. Yeah, like I would say we are in a very interesting time for RWAs because we have quality assets using the tokenization mechanism to increase the distribution, right? Mm-hmm. And I think especially in the like you have all kinds of opinion about the market. It's a very hot market, right?
Yeah.
But definitely RWA gives access for investors to hedge with different strategies, right? So through RWA, more investors will have access to, for example, gold commodity exposure tokens, right? Mm-hmm. Which might be for some a hedge with, the future development of the stock market. So it provides, I would say, more, It's an interesting way for investors to hedge or to basically express their opinion, I would say.
Yeah. And do you feel like, I'm curious, like how tied is your model to the growth of RWA, the RWA category specifically? Or is there opportunities for you to apply your solution? Because I guess the reason I'm asking this question is I personally question the speed of growth for RWA. I absolutely agree in the use case. Yeah. But I think sometimes that this might be like a 10-year development cycle.
That is a very fair point, right? And I think a longer time horizon allows you to build, I'd say, lasting relationships, right? And so with the RWA projects that are banking or using our services, right, we are basically looking to serve them over, many years to come. And we are basically taking a long-term view. But certainly, right, we are looking also into other growth categories, right? And for this, definitely, like we call it a Web 2.5 company that has exposure to crypto and fiat money in and outflows is interested to talk to us because they are not served by the existing banking infra very well. We also see even Web 2 companies, software companies that receive fiats, right? And they are interested to actually come to Bluerails and access Web3 yield. We are not talking about degen yield, but we are talking about using Web3 to access treasury T-bill yield, right? Which is for companies that are, just banking with the standard banks, still attractive, right? And then
totally attractive.
Yeah. So there is, we would say, an arbitrage opportunity for making Web3, like I would say the kind of low risk yield that is accessible through Web3, like treasury bills and some more established lending protocols. To make that one accessible to Web2 companies that want to manage their treasury more effectively.
Love it. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, we gotta talk more for sure. We figured out right before this recording started that we actually met before.
Exactly.
We drank together in Hong Kong. So this has been a great week. Man, being in the crypto industry is so much fun. If you're watching this video and you're still in TradFi or Web2, I don't know what you're doing. You got to come into crypto. You're missing out. It's crazy. There's some drama sometimes, but there's nothing quite like it. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being...
It's a pleasure, man. I see you in Hong Kong, for sure. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Guys, I am totally knackered. I hope you've enjoyed these conversations as much as I have. It's been one hell of a token week. I'll be back in Singapore in November, probably for the Singapore FinTech Festival. But other than that, you know how to reach me, Lawrence@BlockOffice.com. If there's anything I can do to help you on part of your startup journey, or if you just want to say hi. It's been really great seeing you. Catch you next time.